records of the grand historian, the epic of immortality, the humiliation of castration. Sima Qian chose the most disgraceful punishment, castration, instead of death. This was not a surrender to fear, but a calculated choice to complete his life's work. He inherited a mission from his father, Sima Qian, to record 2,000 years of history. Death may be lighter than a feather or heavier than Mount Tai. To make his death heavier than a mountain, he swallowed his pride and grabbed his brush in the darkness of a cold prison. The overlord heaven has forsaken me. The history begins with Shang Yu, a hero who could uproot mountains with his strength. However, he relied only on his personal prowess and failed to win the hearts of the people. At the Wujiang River, he refused to flee and chose an honorable death. Sima Qian recorded his final cry, "It is heaven that destroys me, not that I lacked skill in battle." This proved that victory is not won by force alone, but by the flow of the times. Dosa Gupang boiling the hound, Han Xin endured the humiliation of crawling between a thug's legs to achieve a greater goal. He won miraculous victories with the back-to-the-water array and helped establish the Han dynasty. But after the hunt ended, he was discarded by the power he helped build. He lamented, "The hunting dog is cooked once the hunt is finished." Sima Qian recorded the tragic reality of how a genius who designed the world was consumed by the cold logic of power, tasting gall waiting for the time. King Gujian of Yue slept on faggots and tasted gall every night to never forget his defeat. This was a process of extreme intellectual endurance and self-control. With the help of his assistants, he eventually destroyed the state of Wu, proving that a great victory is the result of 10 years of thorough accumulation. However, his later purge of loyalists revealed the chilling duality of a ruler who shares suffering but not joy. The assassin. The wind is cold. Jing Ke attempted to assassinate the king of Qin to save his country, heading into certain death with a hidden dagger. Before departing, he sang by the Yi River. The wind sighs. The Yi River is cold once the warrior departs. He shall never return. Although the assassination failed, his spirit shook the heart of the absolute ruler. Sima Qian focused on the pure, will within the process, recording the name of the failed assassin as an eternal hero. Reform death by one's own law. Shangyang was the legalist reformer who built the foundation for the Qin dynasty through strict laws. He believed that no one, not even the prince, was above the law, pursuing a thorough logic of efficiency. However, he eventually fell victim to the very laws he created. When he fled after being accused of treason, he could not find shelter because he lacked identification. This tragic irony showed how an architect of order can be destroyed by his own creation. Misfortune, the path under the peach tree. General Li Guang was a legendary warrior called the Flying General, yet he was plagued by lifelong misfortune and never received a lordship. Sima Qian captured his essence through the proverb, "Peaches and plums do not speak, yet a path is naturally formed beneath them." Even without eloquence, his sincerity drew people to him. Choosing suicide over the humiliation of an interrogation, he proved that the value of a man is not measured by luck, but by integrity. Integrity awakening alone in a muddy world. Ku Yuan was a loyalist who chose to drown himself, rather than compromise with a corrupt world. He lamented, "The world is muddy, and I alone am clean, everyone is drunk, and I alone am sober." Sima Qian, who also faced an era of madness, restored Ku Yuan's spirit to show that an individual's integrity can shine brighter than an entire empire. Ku Yuan's sorrow became an eternal light, a final protest against the collapse of his country's values. Completion, 1,000,000 characters of blood and tears. Sima Qian completed 130 chapters of the Shiji. After 10 years of suffering and blood, he discarded his dignity as a man to become the ultimate recorder of truth. For 3,000 years later, he proved that while an empire is temporary, its records are eternal, making his brush mightier than an emperor's sword. By finishing his work, the mutilated man finally defeated the emperor and gained immortality as the father of history.